Guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sean. If you're new here, welcome. And I want to give a special shout out to my channel members as well as my current subscribers. Welcome back. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to do a larger sleeve embroidery using your single needle machine. Now, I previously did a video showing you how to do it using the smaller, I think this is like the 2x2 hoop. So today I'm going to show you how to do it using a 4x4 hoop. So we won't be using this one here. We'll be using our 4x4 hoop, and I'll be using my Brother PE900 machine. So you'll need your 4x4 hoop, and you'll also need your seam ripper as well as some scissors. And then I'm going to be using some wash away stabilizer as well as some cutaway stabilizer. So I'm going to go ahead and get my stabilizer cut out, and then we'll go through the next steps. All right, so I have both pieces of my stabilizer cut out. So I have some cutaway and then my wash away stabilizer. And so I'm going to just set that off to the side for right now. And then grab my sweater. So this is a sweater that I already made previously. And then I'm just going to put our wedding date on here. And let me see, I want to put it on the right sleeve. So I'm going to put it on this sleeve here. And another thing I'm going to do is grab one of these little stickers here. And this is just going to help me get the center before I start to tear away the seams. So my center, I'm going to open it up where my seam is and just line it up so I'll know where my center point is. And there is a crease on the other side of my sleeve right here. So I'm just lining that up with the seam. And so that I'm just going to mark that as my center point and put that sticker down. So now then I'm going to go ahead and take my seam ripper, and I actually like to kind of pull the sweater apart a little bit so I can see the seams a little bit better. So I'm going to start right here at the bottom. I'm not going to take the elastic part of the sleeve. I'm not going to take the seams out of that. I'm just going to go start from right about here. Now, one thing I do want to let you know, if you do this process, you will have to have preferably a overlock machine or a sewing machine. If you don't have one of those, you will then have to hand stitch this back, because you're going to have to put this back together, the part that we open up, okay? So just remember that if you don't have an overlock or a sewing machine, then you'll have to hand stitch it back. So I'm going to go ahead then and start with my seam, and I'm just going to go in there and be careful with this because you don't want to accidentally rip or cut your sweatshirt. And so I just kind of do like a few at a time. Then I'm going to just kind of open this up, and I'm not going to take it up all the way. I'll probably go up the sleeve probably to just below my elbow. Right. And take your time with this, guys. You don't want to damage your sweatshirt. And so, and then you'll see it'll start to slowly open up. And just keep going up the sleeve until you're at a good point. Like I say, just below the elbow is usually pretty good. And I'm just making sure I'm not cutting into my shirt. And then it'll start to come apart pretty easily as you go up your sleeve. And so I'm just taking it right where I see the thread. and then just pulling it apart. Using my seam ripper, then pulling it apart. And I'm probably at a good spot right here. Let's see. I'm gonna open it up just a little bit more. Okay, so that's how it's looking once you get the stitches out of there. All right, so then what I like to do, your sleeve will look like this, or like this from the side where you took your stitches out. And I'm gonna fold or bring that elastic band out so it'll be easier. Oops, just dropped my top. So it'll be easier for me to hoop. Okay, so then it's going to look something like this. So you see I have my center point for my dot there, and then I just pulled this part inside out. And I'm just getting that all maneuvered. Okay, and I'm good. And so now I'm gonna go ahead and loosen my hoop. Probably loosen a little bit more. And then I'm just gonna kind of make sure I got it cut far enough up, because I don't want to hoop the elastic band. You want to make sure you don't hoop that. Okay, yeah, and that is perfect. So we're good to go there. So then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to lay down my cutaway stabilizer. And then from there, I'm gonna go ahead and get this all hooped up. And just take your time when you're doing this. Make sure that you have it centered, you have it where you need it. And I'm just kind of going off of the hoop as far as my center point, making sure that is centered. Okay, so that looks good. Now I'm gonna take my top part of my hoop and put that off in there. Now, if you're worried about it shifting or anything like that, you can use some temporary adhesive spray, some temporary heat and bond adhesive to make sure that it doesn't shift and to keep everything in place. So something like this here. You can use that to make sure that nothing shifts. Okay, so I now have mine in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten my hoop up. And make sure it is good and tight. All right, and so this is how it's going to look. Okay, and so I know that's my center. I'm gonna leave that sticker on until I get over to the machine and do my trace and make sure everything looks good. But this is how it'll look, and then that'll be the back. So I'm gonna take you guys over to the machine. I'm just gonna use the lettering that's already pre-installed into the machine. With this way, using your 4x4 hoop, you can actually do a design. If you want to put like a small patch on there, or whatever, you can do much more on your sleeves when you open it up like this, when you only have a single needle machine and not like a tubular machine. So I'm gonna go ahead, take you guys over to the machine, and then I'll show you the next step. So we are all set up at the machine, and I'm actually going to put my sweatshirt behind the machine just to make it easier to get it on here. And then I'm gonna just go ahead and slide it right underneath there and then hoop that on there. All right. And now I'm also going to grab a couple clips just so I can make sure that, it doesn't stitch together for one. But I'm going to just grab it and kind of roll it off to the side like that. And then I'm going to do the same with this side and just kind of clip it out the way. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and remove my sticker because I do know where my center point is. And then I'm gonna use the lettering that is in here. So since I'm using my 4x4 hoop, I can use a different size as far as my lettering. So when you're using the smaller 2x2 hoop that I did the other embroidery on with the sleeve, you can only use a small. But with using at least the 4x4 hoop, then you'll be able to, hold on, let me just clip this because it's kind of folding over. You'll be able to then use larger letters. So I'm just going to put E, I'm going to scroll over to S and T, establish. So then I'm going to set that. And then I'm going to hit move, and I'm going to move that up probably a little bit more, and then hit OK. And then I'm going to add. I'm going to go back. I'm going to pick the same font, and then I'm going to go to my numbers, and I'm going to hit 2, 0. Dang, when did we get married? 17. Okay, so 2017, and set. And then I'm going to move that down. And actually, I'm going to move this down a little bit more. Okay, and then this one I'm going to move down as well. About right there. That looks good. So then I'll go ahead and edit end, and then I want to do a trace. So that is going to be kind of huge. So I think I'm going to do it medium instead. So I'm going to go ahead and start over, use the same font. E, I'm going to go medium. S, T. Now that looks really tiny. Let's see. Okay, that's pretty much almost where I had it before. So I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller. So that's 2.61 by 0.99. Make it a little bit bigger. So that's 2.75 by 1.04. Let's see if I take it up a little bit bigger. Okay, so that's good. So that's 3.0 by 1.14. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and then move that. Well, actually, I'll leave it right there because I'm going to put the 2017 beneath that. So then let me scroll over, grab my numbers, and select a medium, 2017. And then I'm going to move that down, and then I'm going to size that out, get it right at about the same sizing. Let's see. So yeah, I'm gonna go to 3.0. Well, it's 3.02, so that's fine with me. And then I'm gonna take this one and move it down a little bit more. Okay, that was a little bit too close. Okay, that works for me. So now let me go ahead and edit in, and then we're going to do another trace. Perfect. Okay, so then we're good to go. And I'm gonna click embroidery. And it's going to take a total of 12 minutes. So 6 minutes for the EST and then 5 minutes for the 2017. It says 12 minutes, but technically 11. But I'm going to go ahead and let this stitch out. But first, I want to add in my wash away stabilizer. So I'm going to go ahead and slide that off underneath in there. And make sure that it is down all the way and in that hoop. Okay, perfect. So now what I'll do, I'll kind of hold it as it starts to stitch so it could tack it down, and then I'll just let it go and do its thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit start, hold that down. And then I will be back after this finishes stitching out. All right, she stitched out beautifully. So this is how it is looking right now. And so I'm gonna go ahead and remove my hoop and take off the wash away stabilizer and cut away any threads. And then we'll go over to the overlock and we will get this stitch back together. So first I'm gonna clean up the threads on the inside and just throw those off to the side for now. And it's not too many threads to clean up. And this design, for the size, it did come out pretty big, but that's what I wanted. It didn't come out too big, but it came out big enough. And so you can definitely adjust the sizing. If you're not sure, you can always do a test stitch just to make sure you're gonna like the sizing of it. And then I'm gonna grab my scissors and cut away the stabilizer carefully without cutting my sweater. I usually kind of have my finger underneath the scissors so I know that I'm not cutting into my sweatshirt. All right, last piece. And we are good to go. So then I'm gonna go ahead and take my sleeve and turn it back right side out. And then tear this water soluble off. And I have my tweezers for whatever I can't get. I'll just use my tweezers to get it off. You can also use a spray bottle and that will help get it off as well. If you have a water bottle, you can use that and spray it on there. And so I will speed past this part while I get this stabilizer torn off. And that is how it's looking once I got it all cleaned up, got the majority of that water-soluble stabilizer off of there. And then the next step, you're going to want to turn your sleeve inside out, and then we're going to take it over to the overlock machine so we can stitch it back. Now, all those threads, you could just cut those off. That was just from when you were taking the seams apart. So now we're going to take it over to the overlock machine, and you just want to serge down that line. You want to make sure that your knife is off. Otherwise, if your knife is not off, you'll end up cutting your fabric. You don't want to do that. You just want to sew it back. You want to stitch it back, okay? And so you just want to take it down that seam line and stitch everything back together. So we'll go ahead and we'll go over to the overlock machine and get this stitched up. All right, so we are at the overlock machine or serger, whatever you call it. And then I'm you want to make sure that your knife is off. That's on the side, so you just flip it to make sure that it is off. And then I'm going to just go ahead and now I'm going to go kind of overlap my stitches a little bit. So I'm not going to start directly from where the seam is open, but I'm going to overlap from where the stitches are. There's still stitches there, if that makes sense. So then I'm going to just go ahead and run it through and get it stitched back together. And I'm going to overlap it right there on the elastic wristband as well, just to make sure I have that extra support there. So then I'll just go ahead and let this run through. And as you can see, it's really quick. And right here, I'm just going to slow down a little bit and kind of let that stitch run off to the side once I get to that point. And here I'm just going to go ahead and cut that thread out. And I'm going to cut it a little bit longer just because then I want to stretch that thread out, and then I want to tie it into a knot way at the bottom. So I'm going to cut off a little bit more thread and just take it and tie it in a knot. Sometimes I'll just do like a double knot. So I'll do that first knot and then go ahead and do that second one just to make sure it's secure. It shouldn't come undone. I haven't had any issues, but I just like to make sure it's secure once I do serge something back together. And so I'll do that on both ends, and then right there by the elastic band as well, I'm gonna go ahead and tie a knot there and then just go ahead and cut that off. So then now I'm all done. I'll go ahead and meet you guys back over at the table. All right, you guys, so I had to switch. My microphone died on me, so I'm using my AirPods, so I hope this comes out clear. But so we have it all stitched out, and that is how it is looking, just like it was never touched. So then I'm gonna go ahead and turn that inside out, and that is how it looks. And that's the other side, and there we have it. And so now you can use your 4x4 hoop. You can also use your 5x7 hoop if you're looking to do some sleeve embroidery larger than this smaller 2x2 hoop. Now, if you do use your 5x7 hoop, you'll just want to take your seam up further just to allow more room for that bigger hoop. But you can do larger designs with the 4x4, the 5x7 if like you have a patch that'll fit within your 4x4 hoop or even your 5x7 hoop. You can actually use that and just stitch it directly on the sleeve. So you can do larger sleeve designs even if you have a single needle machine. There are a few extra steps as you saw, but it turns out really nice and just adds a little extra, you know, razzle dazzle to your sleeve. So if you guys have any questions about any of the supplies or any of the steps, let me know below in the comments. I'll be happy to help. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching today's video, guys. See you later.